Hey, geeks and freaks. What's up? Welcome to Geekin Out, where we talk about the culture every 2 weeks. Um, we are your hosts today. We have an extra cast member as well. A few surprises for you guys this week. So first, I want to introduce everyone. We're going to start with Duryea. He's over to my other left over here. He's an entrepreneur. As you guys know, he's a geek, a resident geek, and a huge Charm fan. I've got Ricky on my other side. She's a big Buffy fan. She's also an entrepreneur. She's actually a social media marketer. You can actually find her. We'll do our social media tags a little bit later. And then I've got Chris down below me. Chris is our great anime nerd. He loves Sailor Moon. I know that much. And then we've got a special guest, Justin, here for you. He is the master of the universe and a current reigning Miss Team Time Lord. So we've got a special guest for you guys today. So we've got Geeking Out tonight. So we're gonna start with our usual stuff. Actually, we have one quick announcement we're gonna make concerning our panels today. And I'm gonna throw that over to Duryea for you. Oh, he's on mute though.
Hey everybody, first I want to thank everyone who's been watching from the beginning, and I also want to thank anyone who's new to Geeking Out. So if you've been here before, you're used to 5 of us, and you're used to Jessa Peace Garrett, who is an amazing author, writer, has been an incredible, played an incredible part in getting Geeking Out up and running and where it is right now. However, it was her last episode when we did the Geeking Out virtual virtual Renaissance fair, which is her favorite thing. That was our send-off for Jessa. So we want to wish her all the best. She'll probably come back for a few episodes in the future. We talked about that. So she's going to be focusing on her career in marketing, and she's also going to be focusing on her books. So please follow her, stay with her. We love her. All the best to her. And from now on, we're going to have a rotating 5th chair. So this week, our first in the lineup is Mr. Justin Draper, who's dope. He's master of the universe and all that fun stuff. So tonight, we're excited to have him. All right, Julian, take it away.
All right, guys. So I guess we're going to start with what we usually do. So I'd like to talk about what we're all geeking out about. I guess I'll start with one real quick. Mine's a little bit more personal, I guess. This first one, I'm gonna just get it out of the way. One of my childhood authors died last week, and I'm kind of sad about it. Like I'm a bittersweet about it because like he was himself a little bit controversial, you know. But like the books kind of, you know, it was something that I connected with when I was younger, and it was like my first introduction into like high fantasy. Really, actually, it was like the first series that I've started with, like fantasy fans know this series and like know why it's kind of terrible, and then also why the author himself is a little bit terrible, but still, you know what I mean? It's like the little things that you grew up with and stuff. So he's not wholly redeemed here, but it felt, you know, that's what I'm saying. It's a little bit bittersweet. So his name is Terry Goodkind, and then the series is The Sword of Truth. It's about magic and stuff like that. They actually had a TV series. I think they had made a show about it on Sci-Fi, maybe it was, for like maybe 2-3 seasons, tops, something like that. It didn't really make it that far, but it was also a terrible adaptation. But it's how things go. But so it was a bit of a bittersweet moment for me. So it was like not bittersweet, but it was like a sad moment. But then, you know, we all kind of know he's not really the best of authors, but still.
Help me understand why he's not the best of authors.
Well, the writing itself isn't all that great. I mean, it's not terrible high fantasy, but it doesn't do that genre justice the way it really should. As far as the writing goes, like the way the magic system is set up is kind of wonky at times. Also, like it's very like, there are certain themes that are just kind of overdone, and it's like overplayed, and it's one of them being kind of rape, kind of. definitely rape. So it's like it gets a little bit shady here and there. So it's like his writing isn't always the best. And like some of those scenes still, even like I remember I kind of like skip over, or I don't really, and they're not even all that like vivid or anything like that. It's just that they're still there, and it's like rife with it. So he wasn't really the best of authors, but like his fantasy world wasn't terrible either.
I have no clue. I've never heard of these books or this TV show or this.
Yeah, that's what I say. It's called the Sword of Truth was the show, and then and the Sword of Truth is the name of the series, and each book has its own name. So like the Wizard's First Rule was the first one, but yeah, they were pretty popular at a time, and that's also why. So they had reached a level of popularity. Okay. Yeah, and so he had passed away last week, so it was a sad moment, and then also not all that terrible, because he proved himself to be very J.K. Rowling in the end. So,
which is what I would like to talk about at some point.
Yes. Also, I'd like to talk about this bitch.
Right.
So, I'll let you go. Go ahead. I'll let you start.
Oh, that's not what I'm geeking out about, but I would like. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, can we talk about her? Yeah, I was hoping to.
I want to talk about because this is
that's still part of the whole, the whole culture and things. So
I love open world video games. I think they're the best video games on the planet because they're just endless. You could literally buy it one time and never finish the game, So when I found out that Harry Potter was doing an open world, I literally wanted to punch myself in the face, because it's like, I know I'm not going to get that game. I just can't bring myself to buy the game. I can't bring myself to do it, because it's crazy. The other day I was watching Harry Potter on TV, and then I totally have, I guess I don't even link the two, because I see like the world and all that stuff. But it's like, even watching her on TV, I don't want to watch her TV shows anymore, because I know that she's getting money from that. I mean, I know she's never going to feel it, the little absence of my $5. But it's just like, I feel like it matters to me where my money goes and who it's affecting.
Don't worry, because you're actually not the only one. And that's kind of the point here, so do it, and the same thing goes for everyone else who's feeling the same way. Do it, because then she will feel it, because that's the point here. There's enough of us that feel the same way. There's plenty of people who just are ready to throw her under the bus and be done with her, because she's just proven herself that way, especially people in our community.
Anybody else?
As you know, her controversy is the whole transphobia and LGBT things, and like now, and of course now, like this book that she came out with.
Really quick,
oh God, yeah.
It's not just transphobia. That's the problem. It's not transphobia. She has an issue with transgender women.
That's what it is.
Specifically, because she doesn't really make a point to really talk about gay people, lesbian people, transgender men. She has a problem with transgender women. Which are in my understanding, they're at a much higher risk of encountering violence. I was also talking to somebody about it online the other day, and I was basically saying like, yeah, she's attributing to the violence, and they're like, no, she's not. And I was like, look, she's passive aggressively spreading hateful rhetoric, which fuels these people who feel justified in being violent towards transgender women just because they're transgender. I've had a lot of conversations recently where, because recently, this is for another show, I'm not going to go. There's another decision that was made about trans people, and the word rape kept coming up, rapist. And I'm like, y'all have to stop putting negative words in the same sentence with transgender women, because people who associate transgender women with these things that rapist, predator, that's why they get hurt. That's why people feel comfortable hurting these people. And they're people.
And part of that is also how the media has just always portrayed them for the longest time. You know what I mean? And I know we talked. Okay, so I'm just gonna plug this one last time. I know we talked about it like on another show one time. But disclosure on Netflix, watch it. That'll help you guys out. That'll help you really. That'll help you open your eyes, and like for people who hear this statement and are iffy about like what I'm saying, but like really watch that, and like that'll help you understand a little bit more what we're talking about, because it's just how they're always portrayed and how she's not helping.
I agree with that,
and she has a reach. Yeah, go ahead.
Because I was definitely like watch Disclosure on Netflix, because it's talking about just representation for trans women and transgenders in media and just the roles that they were given, denied, how when they started to get representation, how like foul it was, and just, you know, we all have our stereotypes but like, you know, we get the trans woman that's a prostitute or something like that, like just how those things affect how the world sees these people. And you can see the revolution or the evolution of how media has changed, or at least like recently how it's opened up for them a little bit more.
Oh yeah.
We haven't gotten there yet, of course, but it's gotten, they're getting more of a voice, thankfully.
It's crazy. I talked to my mom recently and explained to her like why we're not even just trans people, why so many people in the LGBT community might end up doing sex work. And it's not because they were like more prone to sexuality or anything like that. It's because when a lot of these people come out to their families, they get put on the street at a very young age. And a lot of times that's how they survive. It's not about screwing. It's about being able to have money and to live, or sometimes to be protected, because the people who are helping them do this are protecting them as well. It's way deeper than these people just being predators. We're gonna go to some lighthearted stuff in a minute, but it's than that. I think for people, they need to educate themselves on why these things are happening instead of just assuming that it's just the way, because everything someone does has a purpose. It's not just arbitrary. It's got a cause. All right, I'm done. I'm off my soapbox.
Oh, no worries. Nice. But yeah, so then that's kind of that's part of our issue with her. So yeah, I mean, just disclosure, but we'll move on to the next thing, I guess. So then I guess we'll kind of keep rolling with it. What are you actually geeking out about then? Can you tell me? Yeah, you.
I'm geeking out about I'm geeking out a lot about stuff, but y'all were talking about. I'm geeking out about. I think I'm geeking out about the Craft reboot.
Yes.
I think I'm geeking out about it. I think I'm geeking out about it. But at first, I was like, "What?" I was like, "Wait, how is this movie coming out next month?" And I hadn't heard about it.
I had not
a peep. Not a peep. They totally Beyonce this movie.
October. Right. I said, wait. It was cast, filmed, edited, and it's ready to go. I had no clue what was happening. And people are like, yeah, they set the cast last year, but y'all know where I was last year, so that's another story. But at the end of the day, like, I'm really excited about it. I want to find the cast. I tried to look it up. I would love for the cast to be a little bit more racially diverse, but I still give big ups to them putting Rachel True in that movie because and she wasn't like, she was far from stereotype. It wasn't like we need a hood. She was just a black girl in that room, and that's what it was. I really love that movie. I'm hoping that the reboot is just as dope. I'm kind of not for all the reboots. I'm hoping that they don't do the same plot. Surprise! I hope they do I hope they just take the idea of these 4 girls in high school doing the witchcraft thing and letting it go, because there's so many directions that can go. So I'm hoping it's a reboot on that end, and it's not just the same plot, and with just because you're not gonna compete with Fairuza Balk.
Oh,
Fairuza Balk.
It's not happening. It is not happening. So for that girl, if they did make her try to replay, if she'd come out freaking Angela Bassett, Meryl Streeping,
right.
I'm sorry for her.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm still, I agree. I hope they kind of like go with this whole, the essence of it, the same heart of it, but not actually redo the actual story and stuff. No one needs all that.
I can't stand that I had no idea. Now I'm
and they totally Beyonce that. They're just like, by the way,
Beyonce
Well, I think she started that trend. I'm pretty sure she's that when Beyonce, right? The Beyonce album, she dropped that like.
Oh yeah, self-titled.
Yeah, self-titled. Bruh, I
just dropped it.
Waking up the next morning.
Yeah.
Why do I feel like one of y'all are the ones that told me?
It wasn't me, but it was definitely after an episode of Scandal. Scandal in it, and the next thing you know, she dropped an album. And
she was smart about that shit.
It was crazy. It was
Too
crazy.
much.
This is very much in the same spirit. So, but it's right in time for Halloween. I'm for it.
Which is
So I'm
the other
excited.
thing I'm geeking out about.
Except that I don't think theaters are open by me yet still. So I'm just like, well, maybe they are actually. I think theaters are.
Yeah, there's theaters are open.
Oh yeah, they are.
But it's going
AMC is
straight.
open.
Wait, this is going straight to stream because of COVID. They're sending it straight to stream.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. But streaming where? Do we know?
That I don't know, but I could find out somewhere during the rest of this show.
Well, if we're gonna do, well, no worries. Wherever we're plugging, we're gonna send them a check later.
Okay.
Anyway, no, not a check, a receivable, I guess. Anyway, moving on to, I guess we'll go with Rakia. What are you geeking out about this week or lately?
Okay. So first of all, I'm geeking out about your costume right now.
Oh, guys, yeah. Oh, yes. Precursor to what we're doing later.
Okay, but look, I need to see the glove. I need to see the glove right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It's actually been through hell and back, so I'm gonna give you guys.
Okay, I can't tell from here because it looks lovely.
Okay, no. Well, it looks terrible. It looks
for the
terrible
people
up
who
close,
are
so
for the people who are listening, can you tell them what you're wearing? And why?
I'm Catwoman. Right. So, okay. So we're talking about. Okay, we're gonna just precursor it. So we are talking about villains this week. Today, this episode. So I happen to be a huge Halloween fan as we break our way into October as it is. So that the spirit is in the air and things. But I happen to be a huge Halloween fan. I do a lot of costumes and stuff. I make up my own and things. One year I did a gender bend of Catwoman. So this is pieces of that costume, but it is actually much more elaborate and things.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Are you Michelle, Eartha, or Holly?
Oh, I am a mix between Eartha and Michelle, because Michelle is just peak. Michelle is peak.
Love gives me,
but Eartha, it gives me life. I'm sorry, I love that.
Love gives me Holly vibes. I'm not gonna flex.
Ooh. I know that. Well, the outfit.
That wasn't her fault that movie was that bad.
The outfit does give a little bit more Halle Berry vibes, but not necessarily because I have like a bodysuit that normally it's like in this form it feels very. Halle Berry.
I'm sad there's no bodysuit right now.
I wanted to wear it. I really did. But oh, it's hot though.
I thought
about it.
Wait. But Gia, I heard what you said about Michelle Pfeiffer. To me, Michelle Pfeiffer
is I'm sorry. She is Catwoman. She is the only one that really mattered.
She ate that role, dude.
Yeah. But who else did it after Eartha Kitt? What was her name?
I don't remember. But she was right.
Yeah, she's a white lady. She did all right. But Eartha Kitt was also really up there. She's definitely my second. So
my second is actually the little. No, she's not little, but her name is Carmen Bicondova. I think that's her name. I'm gonna look it up. But she's the one who played her on Gotham.
Don't talk about that yet.
Why?
I like Gotham. That's a hint. That's a hint to my
Okay, I won't talk to
Julie Newmar.
The girl who played
Julie Newmar. Oh my gosh, she's so statuesque. I should totally have known this.
Somebody in the comments. Wait. Somebody in the comments say Anne Hathaway.
No. Okay. I think they're talking about like the vibe it's giving. The vibe is a little bit more modern. You know what I mean? So it's like Anne Hathaway. It's a little more Halle Berry. You know what I mean? I get that. What I'm wearing is a little bit more like that, but best Catwoman, is definitely Michelle Pfeiffer. And then I would say Eartha Kitt, but y'all can debate after that. But but Michelle definitely takes the cake.
All right, so back to what I was saying. So like definitely Julian's costume. I'm still like really getting into The Boys. So like I'm up to date now on The Boys. If you have not watched The Boys, it's on Amazon Prime. It's about how superheroes were monetized, and like what would that mean? Like it's very, it can be a little bit gory, just like, but it really kind of gives you like it can be. There's lots of violence and like straight off like take someone's head, squeeze someone's head like to a bus, things like that. But it's definitely worth a watch, and it kind of makes you think about our dear country today. and just
the darker side of superheroes.
Right.
I love it.
And like the idea of like American exceptionalism, that's what I'm getting a lot of right now from the boys. Just like, especially when you're thinking of just like how we want this image of America to be to everywhere else, and like how we're just kind of delusional about about what the U.S. really is to others in the world.
The Patriot Act, or the Patriot education thing they just passed.
Oh yeah,
We don't really
that
have
thing.
to go there, but
Right. So like as a teacher, granted, I teach the itty bitty babies, the pre-K babies, but like that stuff is still in my mind. Like a lot of people really don't know what is being taught. They have this idea of what they think it is, but they really don't know. And then also because it's about to be October, like I'm excited just to kind of just watch some of my favorite like Halloween spooky shows, movies, and things like that this October. I'm about to get ready to dig in. Like we're gonna be watching Nightmare Before Christmas like from October to December. And then I think we probably started sometime during the summer. But that's just how we are at our house. Like we'll watch it all the time, forever and ever. So like I'm excited about those things. Yeah, that's what I'm geeking out about.
All right, awesome. I'm happy you're happy about the Halloween season. This is totally my season.
This is my jam.
Oh God, I live for it. I really, really do. Like every year we always do something different. So like, okay, we're gonna say it like 50 seconds. The first year I started really getting into like the costumes and stuff. It was a huge group costume. It was like me and a gaggle of my friends. We did fucking sorry for my language. We did what is that called? Wizard of Oz. We did Wizard of Oz. It was awesome, man. Yo, oh my God, all the costumes, everyone came and they showed out. Everyone, like, they were in charge of their own costume that year, and it was really nice. We were really cohesive, and it was fucking beautiful. But after that, we just started to do a few more group ones, and then after that, it just kind of stuck, you know. So it's something I kind of do with like one or two of my friends, like without fail every year, and then if anyone else is ready to get on board, they get on board. But yeah, we've done a lot of stuff. I did like gender bend Disney princesses. We did one year, and like villains. Oh, we did villains. Right on topic. We did Disney villains and princesses, and we gender bent them. That was really cool too. That was a fun one.
Towards pictures.
Oh God, I have pictures. Don't worry, I'll give you some. I'll give you guys the pictures. Those are easy access. So, yeah, I'll send a link. I'll put a link up on it for later. Because it's I think it's on Facebook. They are definitely on Facebook, but I will send them over. Anyway, love Halloween spirit. So sorry, back on track. So we are actually going to do a quick commercial.
We gotta talk to Justin and Chris.
Okay, I thought we'd hit them when we get back. Okay, never mind. Okay, so, never mind. So then, Chris, what are you geeking out about?
Currently, the biggest thing that I'm geeking out about right now is this podcast that I'm listening to about this fake priest con man. It's called Smokescreen, Fake Priest, and basically he's opened up a lot of refuges and churches and things across the country and swindled literally everyone out of their money, and maybe is involved with some deaths because there have been some mysterious deaths before he disappeared. And there's just a lot of shady things that happen from this fake priest, and I'm on episode 3 or 4 currently, and I'm obsessed.
Wow, what's it like?
Do what?
What is it like?
The podcast.
The podcast. What's it like?
It's intriguing, but
it's investigative journalism, basically. So it's like a guy.
But it's like a format of storytelling.
Yeah. There's like a narrative, and like right now they're kind of just, as I'm listening to it, they're really still kind of setting up this priest as like a person, like really kind of building like who he is before they dig into like what all he's done.
Okay.
And so like right now I'm kind of just like learning who Father Ryan is, but I know because they keep hinting towards stuff that like there's some juicy shit coming. So I'm obsessed with that right now. So if anybody likes a good investigative journalism podcast, check out Smokescreen Fake Priest.
What a title, right?
I know, right? It sounds actually very anime. It's like the title of an anime, right?
That sounds like an anime title. That's funny.
But it's like it sounds interesting though. That's always cool. You know what I mean? Things like that are interesting. I myself haven't gotten into too many podcasts as we make our own here, but I know, you know what it is. I do need to do them more often. I just don't have enough time where I can like kind of sit and listen. That's my thing. Where I'm too busy paying attention elsewhere. Yeah, I have to multitask, and then like I kind of lose it in the background, and I hate that. So I'd rather sit and actually listen to it, or be doing something that warrants that kind of time, driving, whatever it is. But anyway,
I do it on the way in to work, and I also I have an hour break every day, so I come home, so I'll listen to it on the way to work, home for break, back to work, and then back home. So like I can almost get an entire episode in, if not an entire episode in, like every day. And then sometimes I'm just like so enraptured, I'll just listen to it at home too.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's like reading a book. But, hey, that's awesome. Anyway, so on to the next one. So Justin, what do we got for you? What are you geeking out about these days?
Well, hello everyone. How are we doing today? We're only half an hour into the podcast. We're only half an hour in.
I'm so sorry. I'm terrible with introduction. Well, I need to introduce you. Hello.
No, it's fine. It's completely fine. Hello. So I am geeking out right now. I am kind of like going back to some video games that really held some nostalgia for me. So I am playing Final Fantasy X and X-2 on Steam right now. Nice. And I was like, because I've gotten rid of my consoles and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's something I don't have access to. But I found out I had an itch to start playing it. And I was like, oh, God, can I find an emulator online or something to just download it on my PC? And then I was like, oh, it's on Steam. So that's what I've been like literally geeking out about. And there's mods and there's like, extra features, and the graphics have been refreshed and re-rendered again past the HD version. So it looks really nice. It's awesome. It's, on my laptop, it's on Steam, so I can play it from multiple platforms and multiple machines. So it's fantastic. It's awesome. I'm just sitting here just like nostalgia, all of the nostalgia is, coming back to me. But now I'm like, my adult self, and I'm like, I have to find that thing. I have to get this other part. I'm gonna beat his ass. Like it's all like hardcore now because I know what I'm doing.
The revisit is always a whole different story. You know what I mean? It's almost a little bit faster, but then at the same time, it's not. Certain things like you kind of really sit and do for like a long time. I remember when I started playing Final Fantasy IX a second time I got around. There's the one jump rope mini game. You have to like jump rope like 100 times, and like you have to get the timing on the fucking pattern for like, oh my God, it's like 1,000 years of fucking timing and things like that. It's so annoying. But sometimes you skip over it, and then the second time around you kind of sit and you actually play it and stuff, and you
exactly.
Go through it. It's nice. They have the same thing in actually Final Fantasy X, the regular one, the Thunder Plains. You had to dodge all the lightning to get Lulu. I think it was Lulu, right? I think it was Lulu's ultimate weapon. You had to dodge the lightning 100 times consecutively.
It's
200.
It's 200 now. It's 200. I don't know if it was at the time because
I think it was maybe 200 always.
I couldn't even begin to get those.
Oh God, it was crazy. I remember getting close, like 150 up, and then messing up. I was
right. And there's no counter. Right, it's just you counting your head.
Yeah.
So it's like, did I do it? Did I do it enough?
Did I make it? I know. So then you're trying to like hit a few extra, and God forbid you mess up. Well, no, actually, if you mess up and you hit extra, you're still gonna make it. But still,
right.
You know what I mean?
If you go off screen, like if you go to the next screen over to like get the chest. That it resets. So if you didn't get enough times and you think you did and you go off screen and to open the chest, it resets and you're like, screw you. You have to do it again.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Can I tell a question?
Yeah.
Do y'all do like the blitz ball on there?
Oh, that one was a good one too, but I was terrible at blitz ball. I know. I was like, oh, I'm a goat even in the video games. It's terrible.
So hard.
Blitz ball it's even now, like some of like the mods and cheats and like, different features and whatever, they're like just for the regular gameplay, but like there's nothing for blitz ball. So I was going into it stressed the hell out. I was like, what are the numbers? I had completely forgotten all of the rules, and it's just math. It's really just all math. Yeah. And so I'm sitting here just like, yeah, I was stressed out.
It was too like high like fast paced for me at the time, and I was like, I can't, I'm not making it. I haven't played it in like years though. It's been like over a decade maybe or something like that. But definitely one of my top faves. That one was so. Yeah, Geekin, Final Fantasy. Oh, they also just came out with the trailer for Final Fantasy 16. I think.
Yeah, that's what actually kind of like sparked that in my head, because it came through my social media feeds and things like that. The Final Fantasy 16 trailer, and then I was like, oh, cool. And so like I went down a rabbit hole. I was like, oh, this kind of like, it's very similar to 15. Is it related in any way, or is there carryover battle systems, whatever? And so like I watched some videos on the comparison, and then it just kept recommending Final Fantasy stuff for me to watch, and I was like, now I want to play.
Yeah,
that's how they get you.
Yeah, I've been. Yeah, the same thing actually happened. I've been feeling 14. I want to kind of get back into it, but I'm like, I can't pick up an MMO. I will die. I don't have the time like that, but I want it so bad. So go ahead, Mary.
Say nothing.
Okay, sorry.
It wasn't.
Okay. All right. So now is a good time for a commercial. Sorry, guys. I know we're I didn't mean to like cut you guys or anything, but we talked a lot before.
You're good. You're good.
Loudmouth.
It's about time for a good old commercial.
It's about time, but it's about time for a good old commercial. So
in addition to our commercial, we're going to play our title sequence because our computer had a glitch. So we're going to play that as well. Okay.
Oh wait. I mean,
it glitched. That was the Springer Opera House, which will be presenting Evil Dead the Musical. If you're in Georgia, specifically Columbus, Georgia, which is the second most populated city in Georgia, you should go down and see Evil Dead. It's going to be their season opener. They're building this really cool outdoor set. So it's going to be like immersive. What? It's going to be like creepy, gory, campy. It's going to be musical, and it's going to be amazing. Check SpringerOperaHouse.org. Now, also, Columbus is a great place if you don't know about it. That's where Coca-Cola was founded. Aflac. There's a lot of really cool stuff down there, military bases. It's a historic city, beautiful place. You might not hear about it a lot, but you're about to hear about it right now. Go see Evil Dead the Musical, October 15th through the 25th.
Columbus is, particularly the Springer House, is a special place in like mine, Deria and Crystal's heart as like CSU, Columbus State University alumni, but also because it's isn't it the historic theater for Georgia?
Yes, that's Georgia's historic theater.
Yes,
it's their state theater.
The state theater of Georgia.
So yes, if you're in Georgia, particularly in Columbus, come visit the Springer. Also, because of COVID, if you guys know, like our performance artists have struggled because of COVID. So any chances you can support, particularly like your local theaters, please do that. So like I love the Springer. So
Oh God, yes.
anytime
That was-
you can support your local artists, your local theaters, do that, please.
The Springer was also, I went to drama camp there every year since I was in like 6th grade until I graduated from high school. So it's like my home away from home. The Springer is an amazing, amazing place. There's some amazing actors and all around people there. So go check that out.
And I just wanted to add one more thing about the Springer. Since Makia talked about COVID, the Springer is taking so many extra measures to make sure that they're bringing you performances that are not only entertaining and thrilling and fun, but that are safe. Hence the outdoors experience, so that way you can be socially distanced and you can still have your PPE, protective gear. You can still have fun and have that audience experience. That live theater is like no other experience because you're involved and you're in it. So
yes.
Evil Dead, Springer. All right, Julian.
Okay. All right. So, actually, there was a couple more honorable mentions I wanted to make before we kind of break into what we normally break into. So I don't know if you guys have played Among Us. Has anyone heard of this? Mm-mm. It's like a mystery. Like it's supposed to be kind of like what is that game? Salem. Things like that, where it's like you have to like find the imposter, I guess, among the non-imposters. I haven't actually heard of this game. I'm hearing a lot about it, but I haven't seen the game, and that's kind of what I'm asking about because I'm like, I hear all this buzz about
this. I have no idea. I've never heard about it.
I'm gonna be honest. Like if I were to get into video games, like actual video games, as opposed to like those cell phone games where you play for a little bit and you have to have like so much time before you can come back because of energy or whatever, like I would pretty much be a recluse. Like I would be sitting and playing video games the whole time. So like, that's a dangerous thing for me. So I haven't gotten into like real video games in a long time.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying I can't get into an MMO because I might. And so I'm hearing the buzz about Among Us. I'm like, I want to play, but I'm like, if I play, that's it. I'm gonna start playing.
Well, it's funny because that is I hadn't heard about it until this past weekend, actually. And it was a situation where some of the people that I teach and that I coach, they were like, "Hey, do you want to play Among Us?" I was like, "What do you mean?" And they were like, "Oh, well, it's you just have to download the app and like you play with your friends and you like do different things. So it's kind of like a it's a mobile game, but it's very similar to like Clue, if you know what that is.
Yeah.
And it's very much like, there are some imposters. Sometimes they're a little bit more obvious than others, but it's really just how you play the game. So you're like a little space, like an astronaut on like a space station. And you'll have to like go around and complete these tasks and do different things to like keep it interesting and whatever. And then in among those events that are happening, somebody is killing off one by one all of the players. And so you have to work with each other to say, okay, like in the in-game chat, I was on the bridge and repairing the whatever, and it wasn't me. Or I was in electrical doing the whatever, and I thought I saw somebody pass me and stuff like that. So it's like, it's really interesting. And then you have to you get to vote every round. You get to vote who you think it is, or you can just skip. And if by like the end of so many rounds, I think it is, you've either kicked them off, like you voted them off, or if you're the saboteur, then if you survive and you stay, then you've won. So it's interesting.
That sounds like a theater game. Have anyone ever played Vampire?
That's the one. I said Salem, but Salem is like a more encompassing version of it.
Game. This is not at all a video game. What I'm talking about.
No, that's what I'm saying. They turned it into a card game, but it started off as like the theater game Vampire.
Really?
Yeah, something like that. I would say so. At least they're very much related. You know what I mean?
That's one of my favorite theater games. It's not really even a theater game. It's just fun.
Yeah. Go ahead and explain it.
Basically, you there's a person who's facilitating the game, and then there's the players of the game. So the person who's facilitating the game makes everybody close their eyes and hold their heads down, like so where they can't see. Then they go around, they walk in a circle. Everyone's in a circle with their eyes closed. The facilitator walks around the circle a few times, and at random, he taps a person on the shoulder. And then everyone opens their eyes. So whoever got tapped on the shoulder is the vampire. So they know they're the vampire or not. So then you have to walk around shaking hands. And then the vampire shakes your hands, they tickle it like this. And then once you get your hand tickled, you have to shake 2 more hands and then die. And to make it theatrical, you have to die in some sort of theatrical way. Like usually we would like say a melodramatic line from your favorite Disney movie. So when you die, you'll be like, great, and you'll die, right? And then if you think you know who the vampire is, you say, I know who the vampire is. And if it's right, then you pick the person. If it's right, then y'all win. If you're wrong, you die.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's a really good. Like I've had certain people who are like, I knew it was him, but I was so scared to say it until they got down to like with like 3 people. So I was like, so you let everybody else die?
I was gonna say because like the vampire can technically be like, oh no, I think it's this person, and it's actually
the vampire can't. The vampire either like if someone calls out the vampire and it is that vampire, that's the vampire.
Oh, well, yeah,
they have to say it, but. There's another game called Mafia that's similar, but I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, there's a few that are kind of like spin-offs of the same concept and stuff. But yeah,
Mafia. I'm giving like dorm life.
Dorm life, yeah.
Like memories, like Mafia and Nerf guns.
As the RAs.
And Nerf guns. Yes, I love it.
Anyway, y'all.
I'm sorry.
We used to play that game Vampire, except we called it Assassins at the Springer.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. All right, awesome.
Right.
So then, I guess we're going to. Oh wait, no. We're really fast. Yeah. Okay. No. Yeah. No, okay. We're gonna dive into the topic of this episode, guys. We are gonna talk about villains. We're gonna go through our top 5. We're gonna hit some honorable mentions, and we're gonna see if we can maybe compile a top 5 list out of ours and see where we go from there. Okay, so I will start with Justin. At the worst time. I am terrible. See, I am terrible. Okay, we're going to not start with Justin. I'm going to. Okay. I'm going to start with I'm going to start with Chris today. Let's start with Chris.
Me?
Yeah. Oh. All right, so we're gonna start with your top villains. Give me your top 5, and then we'll.
Okay, well, so I have 10, so I'm gonna try and narrow it down. So my very first number 1 top villain of all time has got to be Ursula.
Damn it, motherfucker!
Well, I'm sorry. No, from the time I was 3, there's literally a video of me somewhere. I think my Aunt Lisa has it, of me standing on a chair reciting Ursula's entire monologue to Ariel, and then going into Poor Unfortunate Souls, like singing the whole thing at the age of 3. Like, I don't know how my mom didn't know I was gay. So she, and actually I have a theme, like, I only have 1 male villain on my list.
I feel like everyone here is only going to have 1 male villain.
Not true.
All of my villains are female.
Oh.
So then moving on from Ursula, my second choice, and not necessarily like second, in the line, but the Wicked Witch from Wizard of Oz.
Which one?
The Wizard of Oz.
The
original. The Wizard of Oz. The Wicked Witch was so like scary and so like, I don't know. But I loved her so much. I wanted to be her. And that's kind of a theme also. Oh gosh, it's so hard to pick. All right, I'm going to say I'll give one of my male ones because we'll throw some diversity in there. Magneto from X-Men's probably my favorite.
He's not even a villain.
That's the thing. He has an arc. He has an arc. Okay, he's sometimes a good guy. He's sometimes a bad guy. I love the fact that he and Xavier have that whole backstory, the whole history.
Can I make a comment, Chris?
Go ahead. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
The reason I say he's not a villain, and this is why it's very important that people realize that Magneto is not a villain. The writers of X-Men created the X-Men as an allegory for the civil rights movement. Professor X was supposed to be Martin Luther King. Magneto was supposed to be Malcolm X.
Malcolm X. I get it.
By proxy, calling Magneto a villain also villainizes Malcolm X.
Mhm.
And that's why I don't like that. Because I had to say it as a black man. So Magneto is not a villain. He's just not a hero.
He's
He's an anti-hero, I guess.
like MLK Jr. and Malcolm X, Magneto and Professor X are two sides of the same coin.
The same coin.
They
Right.
they are. So like it's easy to pin Magneto and even Malcolm X as a villain because it doesn't, because you know how they talk about MLK now. They completely like whitewash him now. So like
Yes, I'm tired of white people telling me about Martin Luther King Jr.
right. So like like we all know, like if you read a book, they are two sides of the same coin. Yes.
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 Yes,
Exactly.
yes, they are.
You gotta read.
I'm sorry, Chris.
But I think
Okay, sorry.
You're totally fine. So rolling with that, I'm gonna segue into my next villain, which is a little. It's not a villain traditionally, I guess, but is the villain of the movie, Miranda Priestley from The Devil Wears Prada.
Ooh.
Ooh, okay. I see it.
I love and respect and worship. And okay, so there's so many to choose from. All right, I guess I'll have to say Drusilla from Buffy /Angel.
Yes.
Because Drusilla, there were so many to choose from. Because I wanted to say Spike and I wanted to say maybe
Spike
Darla, but Drusilla
I
was,
would have debated Darla.
Drusilla was the creepiest one of all of them. You have to admit, Drusilla was, I mean, absolutely bonkers, nutso crazy, but in a fun way. Like, I mean, I love Drusilla. So there she goes. She
I
made
hate
my list.
Drusilla just because, spoiler alert, she killed Kendra. I hate her because she killed Kendra. Hated her.
Well,
And
I
her
mean-
bad Caribbean accent.
But what's crazy is she looks younger.
she looks younger
now
today.
than
She
she
does.
was.
It's
Look,
stupid.
Bianca is a vampire herself. We all know this. This is fact.
You also know that that's Beyonce's stepsister?
Yes.
I did not know that.
What?
What?
No,
What?
Miss Tina
is
it's
married.
Miss Tina Knowles Hythen Lawson married her daddy,
Ooh.
Mr. Lawson, who's also an actor.
Hey.
Okay.
Tidbit right there.
I am shocked.
That's how y'all know when your kid get tipsy, because this starts to happen. She starts to get a little ratchet. You know what I'm saying?
The headline. Okay, so other things that you had mentioned. I'm sorry, number 4 was Miranda Priestley. Yes. Some would argue, by the way, that the boyfriend is the actual villain of that entire movie. Miranda Priestley is just, you know what I mean? But I'll
You may
take
not
it.
be wrong.
But you know what? I'll take it because she would have made my list for the same reasons, and in fact, I considered her exactly. But then I stopped myself because I was like, maybe the boyfriend's really the villain here because Miranda Priestley's everything. You know what I mean? She's like either you're going to be here or you're not. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. There's nothing terrible about her. You know, the bitch is just driven. She just knows what she wants and knows how to do it. You know what I mean? But whatever. On to the next one, I suppose. So, thank you. I love your top 5. They're awesome.
Thank you.
I'm not so familiar with Drusilla, but I hear she's creepy and things. So, if you're a Buffy fan, obviously. I know Angel, right? Angel and Buffy. Angel, but if you're a fan,
yes.
then
They had some things. Yes.
yeah.
Basically, all things Joss Whedon, I'm a fan of. But yeah, she was in both of those.
Okay. All right. And so then I'm going to go on to Ricky.
Ooh. Okay. So
your top 5.
all right. So number 5. So if you are on like my personal Instagram and you follow me on Facebook, you should have seen some of my hints. So my first one, or number 5 actually.
Yeah. So are we
Yeah, we'll count down. We'll count down.
Yeah.
Are we ranking them? Okay, I didn't do that.
I
didn't
making,
really either.
I ranked mine. I ranked mine.
Fine.
Like 5 hours ago, I ranked mine. So, number 5 would be Fish Mooney from Gotham.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so like I can't decide. It's a mix between the writing from Fish Mooney and Jada Pinkett Smith herself, because she gives you like if Catwoman was hood. Real gangster. She was real gangster.
Oh my god!
That's Fish Mooney. So if you have never seen Gotham, so Gotham is on Fox. So it's I guess spoiler alert. So Gotham is your pre-Batman turning into Batman just after his parents were murdered. And so Bruce Wayne is a young kid. Gordon is just really getting his way through the forest right now. So like you see like Selena, Bruce, young kids, but like you see some of these other characters. You see Oswald, which we'll see turn into the Penguin later on. But
Cool.
Fish Mooney is this club owner who's also in with the mob. And Jada Pinkett Smith just has so much finesse.
She does play the
and swag. Like that first season, like I watched purely for Fish Mooney.
I think everybody did.
Look, like she was what you wanted.
But the show was good enough. I mean,
the show was good. The show was good. Yes, the show was good, but like Fish Mooney,
You were there for Jada.
right? I was there for Jada and all her entanglements. I was there for Jada.
Oh, really?
Whatever. I love her.
I love her too. Exactly.
Although she did do my man dirty.
Look, like I said, entanglements. We're not gonna talk about it.
That's their relationship.
Well, I think that there had to be some kind of miscommunication where they.
I don't think so, because not to get off topic for 2 seconds. He had a girlfriend during the time too. They were separated. Only difference is his girlfriend did do a motherfucking interview. That's the only difference. That's the only difference. But
look, right, to promote an album as
I know.
Look. Anyways, okay. So number 4 for me. Okay, I gotta remember now. Shit. Number 4. Oh, this is okay. I remember now. Number 4. Shut up, Duryea. Don't do me like that. Number 4 is Scar from Lion King.
You know,
I love
it too. Love.
He just so my thing with villains, I like villains that give me like a visceral reaction, good or bad. But I love a villain with some finesse.
Mm-hmm.
And Scar's voice too.
Yes. Now, keep in mind, from the original, like original Disney movie, cartoon movie. Now, I like the reboot that they did. I'm upset that he didn't actually sing "Be Prepared." Like a
lot of things,
right? Yeah. Like there are some things like the Beyonce's "The Gift" is truly a gift, but the movie. The reboot of Lion King is another conversation, and we can have it at a different time. But Scar,
she's so shady.
Right? She's like, that is not enough time in the world right now.
But I'm too sweet for that. I'm too sweet to be shady. Anyways, but Scar is like, you can just clearly just know that he's just put out and just annoyed, and but you could clearly see that he is over his head towards the end, because he's number one, not thinking about the fact that he wouldn't have the support of the rest of the Pride, and didn't quite calculate how they're going to actually survive with the help of, well, not the help technically, the influence of the hyenas.
Yeah.
Basically eating all the food, being greedy. But that's you reap what you sow. So, but he just had
he had
charisma, and he had the sarcasm. He had style with him.
Honestly, Go
that
ahead.
was one thing that I was gonna say about Ursula that definitely also relates to Scar is that the voice, like sometimes you just cast a villain based on the voice, and like Scar and Ursula both, like I can't get over how perfect. What is wrong with you, Duryea? What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at Rakia. I'm so sorry.
Why are you doing it like this? I don't know why.
I'm so sorry. Look, y'all know when we get off the air, I'm gonna tease her so bad. She had a good ass time. Okay.
Look. He's gonna make fun of me while I'm in my bonnet, and like I'm not gonna be in the mood for it. Look, when the show's over, the bonnet's on.
Is living her best life right now. That's okay. But like,
I'm enjoying it. I just
absolutely, I absolutely hear you, because sometimes the voice is all that makes it. I mean, look at Darth Vader. I don't know if he's on
Darth Vader.
one of my villains is a voice villain too, so
you know what I mean. Sometimes it's the voice is all you need, you know.
Right.
And again, because the voice is what brings that finesse to life, that the conniving, the intelligence that's behind that character too. You know what I mean? Because that's also some things that like about these characters that people kind of gloss past. But like Scar was actually really smart, you know what I mean, until it kind of backfired, you know, because he got a little too greedy in the whole night. But still, he was conniving and all those things. But he did it in such a suave way. It was really nice. Oh God, he was so daddy, even though he was like a lion. And I was like,
we got that's a lot to unpack. All right, so number 3. Okay, so number 3 for me is Cersei, and I'm gonna like Lannister.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I hated that bitch. Look, I haven't seen the last.
I love her.
I haven't seen the last season of Game of Thrones, so don't ruin it. But I hated that bitch.
Okay, so like my thing is like I hated every single one of them damn Lannisters.
Not the little kid though. Not
Tyrion. Not Tyrion's the only one.
Not Tyrion, but so the children, but like the grown ass ones that should know better.
Yeah, they're all messy.
But like, okay, so like Cersei is, it's a weird thing that you are in this family and you're the one woman in this family, and it's your job to keep the family on the up and up. Because that's your job as the woman. Mm-hmm. You married the king. You gave supposedly the kid children, and like that is your job. You're the queen mother. But like, it's like I feel so conflicted.
Okay, so do you hate her more, or do you think she's like a bad bee? Because I feel like I'm kind of.
You don't have to
look a bad bee.
I think you can acknowledge both.
That's what I'm saying.
You can hate her, be like that, like I can't stand her, but acknowledge that she has a lot of wit to her. Yeah. There's so much. She has survived, and she's intelligent, and she's kind of a genius. And like, you know, I don't know
she's
how
not
far
just survived. She has thrived. Like she's a queen. Like she's a queen basically the whole time.
You can't deny that like. How no matter how like ridiculous, dumb, idiotic, just plain awful some of the things she's done, she's doing the damn thing. Yeah. And she does it with a glass of wine in her hand. and literally no one can tell her nothing up until like, you know, whatever, the end.
Okay.
But she makes it, she's one of the ones that makes it so far anyway. Like,
don't tell me you're giving too many hits now, Rakia, okay?
Anyways, I'm just saying she's a bad bitch. No matter if I don't like her. Anyways, like you can give her props for that. All right, so number 2. I'm sorry. All right, so number 2 for me. This is where I get into my Buffy stan mode. This villain has a special place in my heart. I can't understand why, but he does. The mayor. The mayor.
What?
Mayor. And the mayor. Okay, so for those of you who've been living under a rock and have never seen Buffy, and so the mayor is in season 3. Season 3. Yes, season 3. And
I have a bone to pick. The reason I picked the mayor specifically is your black ass told me you were picking Glory.
No,
I was gonna pick Glory, but then
you were picking Glory. You
No,
drinking
I'm
too much? No, you told me it was picking Glory.
No.
Glory is an
No.
amazing choice.
Oh, she's out here.
Right.
She's out here
Glory
stealing
is a-
villas.
No, because I did not. Because I mentioned I wanted the mayor, so I don't know what you're talking about.
You
Anyway,
said Glory Hole.
look, watch your damn mouth.
Glory
Anyway.
hole. What?
Look. Okay.
You called
Anyway.
me?
Okay. So. Anyways, my number 2, mine is the mayor from Buffy season 3. So the thing with the mayor is he's so wholesome. Of all things, he's so wholesome, and he's like this father figure, and like, but
he's unassuming.
Yes, but like, but you know that he's the villain. Like for the majority of it's like like he's up to no good, and like, I can't describe it.
Is he wholesome? Is he wholesome in the way that like he's like he takes care of his kids, he loves them and things like that, or he's like wholesome because he just kind of portrays this wholesome?
And
like,
also, he's like
robot.
full of like family values. And
It's both. It's both, because
Literally, he talks the shit he says. He means it. He's all about family and taking care of your loved ones. All about that shit.
Yeah.
Like he
See, and then okay, so that I love it, absolutely love it.
So because if you're a Buffy fan and you know about Faith, and like when Faith is introduced, she's just kind of like this nomad, and the kind of the opposite of Buffy, where she has this family, this group of friends, and then you have Faith, who's more a lot closer to like the true essence of a slayer, by themselves, lonesome, in it for themselves, surviving. And the mayor takes her in, and it's like a father figure that she's never had. Like it's endearing.
Yeah. It's just
but at the same time, like he's up to no good. Like the end game of this season is
we gotta bot this bitch.
Right. Like it's like he has to go. So that is like I have a soft spot for the mayor. Like he's just my favorite because of the fact that he's up to no good. The mastermind of this big, like he's the big bad. He has to be the big bad of the series. But he has this wholesome personality, and like it's legitimate. It's sincere.
It's a redeemable quality, and that's something that a lot of villains have, especially these days, I would say.
Right, like, but it's the most sincere thing about him. Like he actually is like very wholesome, regardless of the big bad plot.
Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry, dearie. Anyways, all right. So number 1 for me. Number 1, this villain, I have the most visceral reaction to this character, but not even just that. Like I see the actress that plays her, and I think about this character that she's played in a whole other series, and just think, "Ooh, I can't stand her." Even though
still can't stand her. Yeah.
Like she's a great actress.
Yeah.
But because of this one series, I get so angry thinking about it. So, number 1 for me, Dolores Umbridge from Harry Potter.
Yes.
Dolores Umbridge from didn't save. Anyways, yes, Dolores Umbridge, and like she's not even like the biggest of bad things.
Right, she's not even all that dangerous,
but she's just as dangerous, and like
she's the most hated character in the whole series.
Honestly, I can't.
And the actress who played her just did such a great job of like portraying like that woman's essence.
Right, right, just like the real subtle and like all the pink and the cat. And just all the I can't. I can't.
I've never wanted to see a woman get her ass kicked more than that.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just like, man, I wish somebody would put hands on this.
Right. So like, whenever I think about the character, I get angry. And whenever I see the actress, I'm like, she's just this is not the role that she's playing. But like, I think of Dolores Umbridge, and I get angry. So those are my top 5. We can go on to the next one.
I like that. I like how you
consideration, but love
I
it.
like how you took it to a level where like you thought of people that like were great villains, but maybe like you don't necessarily like love. Like my top 5 are like villains that I love. Like I love them, and I can't even almost see them as villains. But like Dolores Umbridge is a great villain.
Yeah,
she is a fucking villain.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna move on to Justin. We're gonna hear his top 5. We're gonna give it to our guest and see what he's got in store for us. Hey, Lou.
He's there.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh no, I'm just looking. I'm just looking. Yeah. So hey, my top 5 is it's kind of like all over the place, but for me, it's a mix. It's a mix of characters that I'm really, really like intrigued by. But some of them, like, you know, I could be them, they could be me, we could be the same person. So it's really interesting, kind of like how I went through this process. And I couldn't hit all of my fandoms, but you know, I did my best. So my first one is actually a repeat from somebody else. So it's Magneto. That's my number 5. So that is, you know, for me, one of my original, one of my like my deepest cut type of like alter ego / you know, nemesis characters that I came in contact with through the X-Men, and that was through the animated series, the cartoon. So I really didn't even get to like get deep. Like I wasn't even deep into a lot of the story and the lore behind Magneto until later, when I started actually like reading some of the comics and whatnot. That I really saw all of the layers behind that character and the duality between him and Professor X, like we were talking about earlier. And that was always just really interesting to me to see that. And plus, like, you know, he's such a good leader. You think about it, like Professor X is like the leader. Like nobody could really step into his shoes at a certain point in the series, like when he's not there anymore. And the same thing's true for Magneto. Like everything just kind of like falls apart after, you know, when he's not in the picture for his group. You know what I mean? So that was a good starting point for me. My next one, my number 4, counting down. Number 4 is this is actually from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Yeah,
Rita Repulsa. It has to be Rita Repulsa. It has to be.
Yes, bitch. I knew it.
It has to be. This is another one, like straight out of my childhood. Like you could not say, like, after 10,000 years.
The first scene of my childhood.
Yes, and I could not stop staring. I was just befuddled and confused, but also intrigued by the cone bra that she was wearing.
I
was like,
and then the cone headpieces.
The cone head with the hair.
Rita was everything.
The big thing, and she always like, you know, send in the putty men and all of that mess. And it was like, so that she was just like, I can't, like all of her little generals and stuff. And then Lord Zed showed up and she's like, hey, I run this. And then she's like, yeah, it's a good time whenever Rita Repulsa pops up in like a meme or something online. That's me just like scrolling, like squealing about it. Like, yeah, it's appropriate.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that one. That was a good one. I didn't think of her, but
right, yeah. And she gave them the runaround for the longest time before they started to like introduce other bosses and like other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that business.
Yes. That really stuck with me for a long time.
I think she made a comeback too. No, didn't she like come back in one of the later series? And then,
Elizabeth Banks played her in the like latest.
Yeah, in the reboot.
Yeah, which I still haven't seen. Is it any good?
It was.
I liked it.
It's okay. It was okay.
They did the whole like Transformers treatment. It looks very like Transformers-esque, you know, like with their outfits and like with the tech and all of that. Right. Yeah. All of that starts to look the same now. Like any of those reboot movies.
The thing about the Power Rangers that was cool was that it was so simple and they just fought. That's it.
Yeah.
They fought and shit blew up and they went, ah.
It's like
the problem with the
go-go
movie
power
was that
like spandex
That's all I
bodysuit
need. Yes.
and
The
my
problem with-
bicycle and my motorcycle helmet. Here I go.
Yes.
the problem with the movie is that like you're getting like an origin story for them as opposed to like
What the
an
actual Power Rangers movie was?
right. Yes. So like you're
Yeah.
getting origin, not like you see them morph and all that, but like you don't really get to see it till like more than halfway through, as opposed to like the first Power Ranger movie with
Iconic.
the original cast. Which
Iconic.
you can say what you want about it. Yes, it was iconic and it was great. And you're not having to go through like having to build up a story because this stuff is already there.
Yep.
Ivan Ooze is a great villain too.
You just got like
Damn it! Why do you keep doing this to me? Why do you keep doing this to me?
like, you got an hour and a half long episode of the Power Rangers in a movie,
Y'all,
and like
let's
it was
go.
great.
Okay.
Okay. We're gonna cut it short there because we're gonna get to him. We're gonna come back to the Power Rangers conversation very shortly. I have the feeling. So we're gonna continue with Justin then for now.
Counting down, number 3.
All right.
So my number 3, and it's kind of because I'm currently playing this, so but a villain that really stuck out to me again and just has stayed with me for a very long time is from Final Fantasy X, and it's Seymour.
Yes.
So
Seymour is a good villain.
He's like half Guado, so he's got like this crazy hair. He's got this big like kimono like esque robe and just chest out and tattoos.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how gay I was until I saw him in this game, and I was like, "Oh,
This femme queen is looking damn fine."
Really?
right."
No, but I would say Cujo started that before Seymour. Because that's why I was like, when I first saw Seymour, I was like, this is like a remodel of Cujo. Cujo was from 9. And Cujo had very much the same outfit. I mean, he was more cartoony. I think that's maybe part of the big difference there versus being like a real life kind of model. But
exactly. And it was so cool to see him like just like come on and be like so cool. And it was another one of those. It was like very like the finesse was there in his voice acting and the story arc and the storyline that kind of like went down with him. But that character model, that character design it just had me up against the wall like,
yeah.
I didn't know what to feel. I didn't know what was happening on the inside, but I liked it. Yes, but you did spell it correct. Yes, that's right. My number 2 is from Narnia. So it's from the C.S. Lewis Chronicles, the series. So it's from it. This character appears in a few different novels, but most notably The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and it's Jadis the White Witch.
How do you spell that?
I'm gonna write the White Witch.
Yeah, the White Witch, people will know, but her character name is Jadis. But if you only watch the movie, you wouldn't know that. But if you read the books and know kind of like a little bit about her backstory, she comes from that she actually has a name.
Okay.
But that was a character which kind of set me into a mental state of looking like you can be just, especially with Tilda Swinton playing her in the movie. I felt like that was probably the most accurate and like best person to play that role in my head, and that's why I like that casting so much for her. With Tilda is because she takes it to that place of like otherworldly, like high fantasy delivery. And because you get into some of these major motion pictures now and they try to adopt a book into a screenplay and cast it with like A-list actors and actresses, and it's like, oh god, this is going to be the bare minimum of the direction that we want to go. But like Tilda Swinton really took it for me and cemented that character as like that archetype of like strong female, like doesn't need nobody. She's not trying to like take over. She did take over. Like it's hers now. It's on lockdown, right. you know, for all of the ins and outs of the parallels that kind of are written into that series against the religious undertones and the Christian overtones of that is especially, I think that makes it really interesting as a series, you know. But I really like that that as my number 2.
Okay.
So my number 1.
We love Tilda Swinton.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Oh yes, Tilda all day long.
She does, like, all her roles are actually kind of amazing. So like,
yes. Yes, special shout out to her in the Doctor Strange movie as well.
Yeah.
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 She always brings like that fire. And you're right, she does a really good job in like that genre. You know what I mean? She brings that drama for that genre really well. So everything she's done, I fucking love it. I love her characters every time. So
right. Yeah. And so my number
I think she's
1.
a great villain in Constantine also.
Yes, that's why. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. So my number 1 is from Doctor Who, and it's The Master. And that might seem a little bit obvious, but that was one for me that I just felt like he was like, every time the Master kind of showed up, it was sure, okay, yeah, there's that obvious opposition, but there's also like an additional layer of a twist, or there's something that you didn't realize was going to happen. So the Master for me is my number 1 as
it's the plot line that he brought. You know what I mean? It's like that's it, and if anything, that's kind of what I would attribute to like Cersei Lannister and things like that, and like those kind of characters, like because her greatest quality was like her ability to play the Game of Thrones and things like that. So like I love villains who are great in that way, who like are great planners and things like that. Those are really cool villains. You know, I find them to be some of my favorites. But we love it.
Thomas is probably sleeping right now.
Uh-oh. All right, so then we're gonna move on to Dirty A.
Is a huge Doctor Who fan.
Oh, is he? Unfortunately, I'm not. I'm not a big. I don't dabble in Doctor Who as much, but it is a huge base, and I do love the fandom. I just haven't actually been into it, but we love a Doctor Who around here. So
I from the very beginning to like really get I don't have the bandwidth.
That's the thing. Like, I watched it with my dad like way back when I was young, because he would watch the old series, like you know, and then it came back and it got kind of redone and rebooted, and that's really when I started to honestly watch it for like myself. You don't have to watch the old batch of seasons, like the whole almost 10 Doctors prior. Like you don't have to watch it through all of those.
No.
To understand what's happening with the new, but you definitely, after it got kind of brought back, I forget when it came back, but you definitely want to watch starting there. It has amazing, yes, it has amazing writing. It has amazing story, like the Bad Wolf storyline. Oh my god, like just tore my heart out. And like anything with Catherine Tate as well, like that was also like
I love her.
Amazing. Yeah.
Oh, very good.
I need like a video of Chris is doing that, so I can share that as like a reaction to things.
The video will be available. Don't worry. I'm gonna slice it into a clip later. We'll make it our next promo. It's gonna be Chris yelling.
Just that.
All right, guys. So we're gonna move on to Jury A. We're gonna hear his top 5, and then.
Okay, my top 5 has been butchered 5 times by the.
I know. I was like, I thought we've already talked about
they
it.
took 3 of my top 5. The 3 that they took were not Magneto. What did you say? Ursula was one. The other one that they took from me was the mayor, and then the other one they took was Ivan Ooze. So
I didn't say Ivan Ooze. I said
it was said. So I'm
all right. And then in 3 words, tell me why you love those.
We said my list.
Why you love those?
I got a new list.
Okay. All right.
My number 5. Nobody on this panel except maybe Rakia will know who this is. Brandy Webb from A Thin Line Between Love and Hate.
Okay.
Now,
These are one.
just to be clear, do you know who that is, Julian? Since you looking like that,
Is that the crazy one? Is that the other girl? Which girl is it?
Crazy one. Okay, so
Which
you
one
saw
is
the
it? I've seen the movie. I just can't remember which character, who she is and which character she played.
The villain.
Okay, yeah. I mean, obviously the villain, the crazy girl. Yes.
Right. The reason I like her is because for me, I like that movie in itself just because it was a black movie that wasn't about overcoming white people.
Yeah.
And growing up, that seems like all the movies were about. But it was like seeing her switch from being this beautiful, polite, sweet woman, and then turning into this like needy, neurotic mess, and then just getting like, I'm gonna kill you. That was like, first of all, as an actor, I didn't realize it then, but I was watching probably one of the greatest performances of our time. But you know, she's still not even got her flowers for that. But
yeah,
she acted her ass off. She put the fear of God into me as a child to never do somebody I
need the actress.
I will never do the things he did to anybody I date because I'm afraid of them being Brandy Webb. So
name the actress.
Lynn Whitfield is the actress.
Yes,
one of the best actresses that's out there. She still hasn't got her flowers, but she deserves them. I love her in that role. And yeah, so that's my number 5. My number 4. So Brandy is the number 5. Number 4, Jigsaw.
Okay.
Originally, my number 4 was the mayor, but for the same reasons they were Kia. The reason I like Jigsaw is because the backstory. I always like villains that have like a reason for doing what they're doing. It's not just like So the whole. I mean, I do think he took his mission a little too far, but I understand how it made him seeing people waste something that he himself couldn't have much longer. I also like the fact that his influence was far-reaching after his death. You know, one of my favorite interactions with him is with him and his protege, when he was basically teaching the younger girl how to be a jigsaw, but she went too crazy with it. So he basically set it up to where if she couldn't calm herself down, she'd kill herself.
Yeah,
and that's what I liked about him. It's like, hey, if you don't get it together, you're gonna, you know. So, and also like that's a voice one. That's a voice like, do you want to play a game?
Yeah.
And then, you know what? I do not want to play no games.
I'm triggered.
Please don't let me play no games. All right.
Right.
Number 3 is the seer from Charmed. The reason I like her for one is because she's a black villain in a supernatural show that has nothing to do with black people. Does that make sense? No, because it's always like we're always shoved in like as either the add-on or, and she was complex. Her character arc, she was strategic. She was probably, in my opinion, she was the best villain on that show, hands down. Period. She had the best story arc. She was a woman in power. She was a woman who took power from a man and manipulated all the men around her to get the power for herself. Anyone who hasn't seen that story arc, she's basically like the right-hand man of the devil. And when he becomes too power hungry, she doesn't trick him. She basically manipulates it to where the power transfers from him to somebody else, and from that person to somebody else, and then eventually from that person to her. Now, now what she messed up with was fucking with the Halliwells. She didn't realize that she was in deep. So that's where that was. All right. Number 2. He who shall not be named. Voldemort. Yes, that is my number 2. I love everything about him. Like, I didn't read the books. So when I was watching Harry Potter, I was always like, I didn't read the book.
if you're listening right now, like Justin's giving the serious face.
I literally got side-eye. I got side-eye. So
like both eyes.
How are you gonna have him as your number 2 when you ain't read not one page?
I have read a page. I have read a page, but I didn't read the books. 8th grade, this was me. If the book was thicker than this, I wasn't reading it. I didn't do homework.
The table of contents in the bibliography does not count.
Let me tell you, it does. Let me tell you, that year we had to read Gone with the Wind in order to pass Georgia history, right? Which was the 8th grade class you had to pass social studies. I didn't read Gone with the Wind because it was too thick, and I still passed. I don't read. I didn't look.
You're like a year ahead of me. Like, we didn't have to do that in 8th grade.
Oh, I did. I did.
Ooh,
yeah, it was a requirement to do that. I went to Atlanta public schools. Sorry for you. Anyway,
I'm sorry, Cobb County.
Not Atlanta. So anyway, if you're from Atlanta, you understand what just happened.
Yes.
Outside the perimeter. Anyway,
in the metro.
GOTP. UITP.
So for me, Voldemort was like, I was scared of him before I even knew anything about him or saw him I was terrified. I was like, who? Everybody is like, they won't even say his name. And he dead.
Yeah.
He dead. They won't even say his name. What did he do? And you build up to stuff. It's never like, it's always not good enough. It's always anticlimactic. So watching the movies and that scene in the graveyard where he showed up and showed he showed out. I was like, and he's just killing people already. And then the scene where the girl was hovering in the air, he just said, yo, he was about all the smoke all the time. Anybody, and it made sense why people were so scared of him, because like once he showed up, even his followers were terrified. Y'all saw Malfoy when he took that fucking, I'm sorry, that wand, it said, and looked him straight in the face like, say something.
Man.
Oh, bro.
Look, Voldemort, as far as like Harry Potter is concerned, Voldemort invented the smoke. Okay, he made the smoke. He made the smoke. He invented the smoke because he did not give one damn. He was gonna do what he was gonna do.
He was one of those villains. This is why I like him. He wasn't one of those villains that played around. You know, sometimes it's like, oh, you could have killed the main person right there. If he has that opportunity, he takes it.
Yeah.
If it didn't work, it's because something happened, but it's not because he was telling everybody the plan, you know?
Right. No, he was like, no, I'm gonna kill you right now in this graveyard while you're 12 years old. Like
that's what it is. I don't care. You a baby, Avada Kedavra. All right. So my number one villain is I don't know if y'all are gonna know this villain, but this is literally my all-time favorite villain. Her name is Claudia from One Simple Wish. Nobody.
Yeah. Kathleen Turner. I love Kathleen Turner.
So the story, if anyone hasn't ever seen One Simple Wish, it's about all the fairies that are they're fairy godmothers. Every child has a fairy godmother. Martin Short is like the bumbling fairy godmother who is always like accident prone. Kathleen Turner plays a fairy godmother who started using her magic for herself. So then because she did that, she was classified as a witch. When I tell you, when she decided to come through and wreck shop, she shut down everything. It's literally, for me, like my childhood was watching that movie. That was my gay moment when I realized that I would mimic everything she did. She was classy. There's this chase scene in Martin Short's characters running up the stairs, and he gets the wand. So instead of running, she freaking sits on the stairs and goes backwards up the stairs. I was like, she's the main fairy godmother, the highest one. She turned her into paper, dude. That was like the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
So that's my kind
also her voice again.
Her voice, Voldemort's voice, Jigsaw's voice, but Voldemort's voice was so sexy though.
Ray Fiennes.
Really? All that rasping.
Yes.
I like a good rasp. What are you talking about?
That's my list, everybody.
Okay. No, I like it. I love it a lot.
So one of the comments said from Danny, he's been a panelist on Talk It Out. So shout out to Danny. But he said, "Who'da thunk with all the great Harry Potter villains, Jake would eventually surpass them all." Hashtag no shade. Hashtag maybe a little bit. That was some shade, Danny. But it was justified shade, and I'm not mad at it. We gotta share it. Thank you,
no lie, not a single lie was told in that entire.
That's how she wrote such good villains, Danny. That's how.
Yeah. Right? It's like she's like, let me just draw from my real life experiences.
Right.
I guess that makes it easy.
Okay.
All right, guys. So I'm gonna do my top 5 real quick. Well, okay, that's kind of quick. Anyway, so I technically didn't rank them, but I did rank them. So I'm gonna rank them real quick right now. Okay, I'm gonna start with actually, technically, it was a toss-up between Magneto, which was everyone else's kind of, well, not everyone else's, but there was a couple of those as well. But then I was like, Magneto or Mystique, so I'm gonna go with Mystique for this.
Oh yeah, see, that was a tough choice for me too.
Yes, I love Mystique. Mystique is a bad B. Okay, so the biggest thing, the one thing that I love most about her, I mean, obviously, if anyone who like really loves X-Men for like at least for the plot, it's because it's civil rights. It's kind of anyone who really any minority, any other who's ever had to like struggle, you know what I mean, you can really relate to that plot line. So like that was one of my things with Mystique, because one of my things was I've grown up in an area where I stand out like a sore thumb kind of a thing. So like I always really related to like Mystique, and then subsequently Nightcrawler, and then Beast obviously as well. Just how like they perceive themselves in the public light. They're blue, they're hairy, they're very visibly different, and it's how they feel sometimes around other people and stuff. And so that was really a driving factor for me. So she's like, that was a big part of her backstory, and then of course she's turned it around. Where Mystique walks a fine line of being a villain and then not. She's just kind of really all out for herself kind of a thing. But she joins the X-Men at some point, so it's not as if she hasn't done her good, And then she obviously has been with Magneto and has still done good for the people, but in suspect ways, I suppose, is the thing there. She's kind of an assassin and stuff. But we love that she's turned it around to be more empowering for her, and that's one of my big things with her. So she's my number 5 is Mystique, who also just kind of falls along the same lines of like Magneto and things like that. And I would say a lot of the villains in X-Men, because a lot of those villains are like kind of villains of circumstance, which is different, than your regular run of the mill. Okay. So number 4, I would say is I'm gonna go with Darth Maul. Actually, I'm gonna go with Darth Maul.
Wow.
all right. It was a toss up between Darth Vader and then Darth Maul. Darth Vader being the
and you picked Darth Maul.
The iconic, but why I picked Darth Maul was because of the refresh that he brought and the precedent that he set for the Star Wars universe. You know what I mean? At least visually. I'm sorry. Well, okay. All right. I'm just saying they both did a great thing in that way, but Darth Maul he set a new precedent, and I loved it. He brought the double lightsabers, so then since then there've been all these different saber weapons. You know what I mean? He brought the saber dueling. He brought that to the next level. I'm sorry, but it was not like the originals weren't the same way. But until they introduced Darth Maul, and then like his fight with Obi-Wan, and ever since set a precedence. You know what I mean? And that's one that kind of happens with time, obviously.
Right, because I'm saying, are we giving him credit for changing that, or are we giving technology credit for changing?
Well, not necessarily. It's not even like technology exactly. It's just the concepts that came along with him. Was my point. You know,
that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't understand. Because to me, I don't understand what was it about him specifically that made dueling better? Because I thought it was a technology upgrade, really.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, yeah, I suppose, but then I guess also like the character who played him was like very acrobatic and things like that. They did a really good job of they upped the ante on your fights and stuff, and the actor who played him was the same stunt person. You know what I mean? So it wasn't really all the technology and the CGI as much as, at least when they introduced him, which is where I'm going with this.
Right. And Furie, don't hate, because some people have Jar Jar Binks as their favorite Sith Lord. Okay, so just leave it alone.
This is true.
Jar Jar Binks is literally my favorite character.
Oh God, he's terrible.
I love Jar Jar Binks.
Terrible, because I did like him when I was a kid, but then when I was younger, but then I kind of thought about it a little harder, and I was like, that character. But okay, so on to the next one, I guess. So Darth Maul, I really liked him because he brought an elevation to the Star Wars universe in that way. So he represented a benchmark.
I'm hating.
You were hating though. You're hating over there. So, and I'm sorry, Jewel of the Fates. Like when those fucking doors open and he's standing behind it, and then Jewel of the Fates started. Jewel of the Fates started, which became so popular that it made it on like TRL at number one spot at least one whole week. Some bullshit like that. Like, I'm sorry, man. He was part of a movement in the Star Wars universe.
Okay.
So. All right, on to the next one. I'm gonna go with Poison Ivy.
Yeah.
All right, so Poison Ivy and then
Wait, Uma Thurman, Poison Ivy?
Poison Ivy, period.
In general.
Poison Ivy, period. The character in general is just she is there for me. I'm sorry, because she is not really a villain. Whatever, she like does suspect things, but it's not a big deal. You know what I mean? Because in the end,
she's fighting for the plants.
In the end, she's fighting for the plants. In the end, she's fighting for the planet and things like that. You know what I mean? Like here we are living lives of pollution and literal planet decay, and we could use some poison ivy in our lives.
So they really just took a tree hugger and gave her some spandex.
Yes, basically, but she's really smart though. She's also brilliant. She's a doctor. You know what I mean? So she has a doctorate and things like that. She's a whole scientist in the whole nine. She's also a philanthropist throughout the whole thing, and then she's also a huge feminist. So like she's just a bad bee the whole way around. So it's between her and then Catwoman, but I'm gonna go with Poison Ivy for this one because I am
Harley Quinn.
Yeah, Harley Quinn. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? A lot of these comic book villains they have more depth to them and stuff.
But my two favorite were Catwoman and Poison Ivy.
Yeah,
me too.
She's a bad bee. She's a bad bee.
I like Mr. Freeze too, but
yeah. Okay, on to the next one. So I've got Joffrey Lannister as we're talking about. Because also like Professor Umbridge, it was just like I just cannot wait to see this character get handed to them because they've just been the whole time frustrating. Like, every time they
so satisfying.
I want to kill you.
I knew I had darkness in my spirit. I knew I had darkness in me when I watched Joffrey die. And it's like I never felt so much joy in my life. I was like,
because the character was just written so well. He's so bratty.
He's well for such a young kid too.
Oh, yeah, he's so he's so deranged and so messed up. Love it. Go ahead.
I don't know. Maybe I feel like it's because of Game of Thrones itself. Like Game of Thrones had Joffrey and what was his name? I can't remember. But like they had at least 2 or 3 characters where I was just like the visual reaction of like
the guy that kidnapped.
Yes, Battle of the Bastards. What's his name?
Yes. What is his name?
We're talking about the Hound.
Battle of the Bastards. But that mother effer.
Oh, you mean the one who kidnapped the gray guy and kept him?
What's his name? The one who kidnapped him.
Right. So like the visceral reaction of just like wanting, like you don't feel like any pity for these characters dying. Like I've never felt that before until I watched Game of Thrones, where like these people are so horrible. Like Joffrey is still a child. Like he's like, yes, he's a teenager, but he's a child. Like I shouldn't feel that way. But when he died, I was like,
teenagers are old enough to
just like he could catch hands, and like that's it. Like that's all she wrote. It's like Game of Thrones, like gave me like at least 2 or 3 characters where I was like, you know what?
That's his name.
Like I cheered.
Yeah,
there were like
Ramsay Bolton.
Ramsay Bolton.
Yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, absolutely. No, they did have a few. And to be honest, I wanted to throw hands at Sansa for like a hot minute too, but whatever. At least in the beginning.
She's slow to learn, but she learns. Okay, thank you. Don't be Sansa like that.
So she still comes back, but in the beginning, I couldn't take her. Okay, so then now my number one. We're gonna go with it's a person, but I'm kind of just gonna throw the whole cabinet in there. So V for Vendetta, the entire fucking cabinet. I'm gonna go with Chancellor Adam Sutler, but like really the whole cabinet, and then most especially if I absolutely have to pick one of and all those people who were on that panel, I'm gonna go with the voice. I'm gonna go with the voice. I'm sorry, that man. He irks me. He irks me because he's the quintessential character of today, you know what I mean, that we see all the time, and it's like,
I've never seen this movie.
Oh, are you kidding? It's so good.
You have to see it.
Are you kidding? Okay. And especially nowadays, because it's just it's such satire. It's unreal. And
Natalie Portman's accent isn't great. I mean, it's okay, but Natalie Portman's accent, just forgive that. but it's a great movie.
Yeah, it's otherwise amazing. But like the whole cabinet, I'm gonna go with because they're basically, they're basically an administration that we are seeing today, where they're fascists and stuff like that. And like they come to power, and how they come to power, and then how they're keeping the power, mostly with fear mongering and stuff. And it's just like how their whole conniving and their whole system and stuff. I hate it. I hate it. It drives me crazy. It's not the redeemable kind of villain. It's more the kind that kind of brings that anger and that frustration instead. So that's definitely my number one. But I'm gonna put the whole cabinet on there because Creedy, he's like the dirty con man basically. The voice, I can't remember who his name is or who plays him, but he's basically like the talk show host who is like in control of the media. He's like the media voice and the media image, the one that everyone will believe and speak and listen to, even though he's pumping out lies and things like that. Sounds familiar, like a few fucking commentators I can think of. But anyway, so it's like it hits close to home. So that's definitely my number one, just for that alone.
Oh my god.
Okay, guys. So we've got a lot of top fives out here, and we've got a few overlaps and stuff. I would have loved. We're out of time. We're out of time, guys. It's been real, but I think it has been epic because we have
a few announcements really quick though.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a few announcements really quick. So first, we're about to wrap up here. First, I want to say thank you to Justin Draper for being here with us.
Yay!
And
Justin,
our co-host for the night. I want to invite you back for our next episode, which will be in 2 weeks, which will feature Ayana Jones, a Talk It Out panelist. She'll be coming here to nerd out with us. Rakia will be hosting that episode. What are we going to talk about, Rakia?
we're going to talk about the Halloween movies that get you in the Halloween spirit.
Yeah.
We're going to get what are your favorite Halloween movies? And it can be any genre of movie. So let us know what you're into.
Yes. Follow us online. You can find us at multiple places. Justin, if you want to follow Justin, you can find him at his Instagram is the best way. That's the best way to find him. For the rest of us, you can always find us on Twitch. Twitch at Day Gamer. You can find us on WoeNellyMedia.com, at Media Woe on Twitter, on YouTube. Just search Woe Nelly Media and connect with us there. It's been wonderful having you all here. Julian, do you want to say any parting words?
No. It's been great actually. We're happy to have done villains today, and we're happy to have had our special guest Justin, and thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
All right, you all. Good night, and make sure you come back and geek out with us.
Bye.